You are unhappy and unfulfilled, but not because of your circumstances, your partner, or unfulfilled dreams. In this video, I will show you how to instantly find lasting happiness, fulfillment, and inner peace. And if you are already meditating regularly, this video will be extremely important for you so that you avoid these common traps. So stay tuned and watch this video, because it's about true happiness. Who am I anyway? My name is Christian. I've been practicing Zen meditation for at least half a decade. I'm also an energy healer and just really curious about spirituality. I inform people about ancient meditation practices that can be applied in their daily lives but are not taught publicly. So what's going on with happiness and fulfillment anyway? Most people want to sell you things that you don't need, convincing you that following their example will make you happy. But let me ask you a question. About 2,500 years ago, there was a guy in India who found lasting happiness, fulfillment, and inner peace. He discovered a happiness that transcends this world, inspiring countless people today without relying on anything we believe is necessary for actually finding happiness. And now I should ask myself the question, do you think he has tried to accomplish something in this world? Or do you think he found his perfect partner or fulfilled his dreams? No. This is actually what he moved away from in order to find true happiness. He did not need any of that. In fact, he had more money and power than most people. And yet, he found it unnecessary. And you don't need any of that either. It's much simpler than you think. And it's also free. You don't even need to give up the things you have or want in your life. There's actually a strong connection between wanting things and not finding true happiness in your life. Later, you will understand what's really going on here. And let me say it before you turn off this video. You are lying to yourself. And this is the reason why you can't find lasting happiness or fulfillment. That's why we constantly struggle for every bit of happiness we can find. And I will explain the exact reason why. Expecting happiness from impermanent things causes suffering. It's impossible to find true happiness in things that have no lasting substance. Do you think you are better off once you accomplish all of your dreams? Or do you believe you will be happy once you find the perfect partner, make a lot of money, become famous, or whatever? Unfortunately, it does not work that way. It's not as simple as just making your dreams come true and living happily ever after. And just as a disclaimer, when people hear Buddhists talk about the need to let go of everything, many imagine they must give up their daily lives, their hobbies, their partners, and everything else to find true happiness. I think it's a big misunderstanding, and I will definitely address that later. So let's talk about this guy from 2,500 years ago who gave up everything to find true happiness. Clearly, he succeeded. And now there are millions and perhaps billions of statues of him all over the world, such as this one, for example. Or this one, or this one, or this one, or this one. Okay, that's it. I have many more, actually, but yeah, it would take too much time to show them all. So we know him as Buddha. He was a prince, had lots of money, he had a beautiful wife, a child, and he was also seen as the successor of his father, the king. And they were clearly living in a very good situation at that time. However, one time he saw the reality of human life, which is aging, sickness, and death. And after witnessing a beggar who seemed unaffected by suffering, he became convinced that there must be a deeper truth underlying it all. He then went on an existential quest on how to overcome suffering. And eventually he got enlightened and spent the rest of his life teaching practices that lead to the cessation of suffering and the attainment of nirvana. So what did he find out and what did he teach? One of his most important teachings was about dukkha, which is commonly translated as suffering. More accurately, it refers to a pervasive sense of unsatisfactoriness. So he's not only referring to severe suffering, such as intense illness or imminent death, But he also points to our continuous state of unsatisfactoriness. And this unsatisfactoriness is caused by desire. The desire for things to be different. Whether you are poor and want to be rich, ill and want to be healthy, or hungry and just want food. Desire means wanting something other than what is present right now. However, getting what we want doesn't make us truly happy. It actually can't. Everything in our world, including the world itself, has only a relative existence. This means everything is impermanent since it's coming and going. And the things we desire are relative and therefore impermanent. It means they come and they go, and there is absolutely no exception to that. So how can you expect happiness to last forever if it's based on things that don't last forever? And if you claim you're not seeking eternal happiness, I think you are lying to yourself. Actually, just look around at society and the many ways people delude themselves into thinking that this or that activity or thing will make them happy. They keep running around, but they never truly arrive. And people are doing anything in order to get even a small glimpse of happiness. And even among meditators who have intellectually grasped the Buddha's teachings, they are even misled by their own desire for eternal happiness, which, of course, keeps them from finding that very happiness. So whether we are talking about the lowest pursuits of happiness, such as greed or indulgence, or the highest desires, like the pursuit of God or true happiness, they both operate on the same mechanism. And this mechanism is called desire, and its consequence is suffering. So can we ever find true happiness if every pursuit only leads to more suffering? No, we can't. It's impossible. Looking for happiness already implies suffering. The very act of looking for something is desire, and desire implies that where we are right now isn't all right, and that we need to go somewhere else in order to find something better. We do not appreciate the current moment and try to look for a better moment somewhere else. So seeking true happiness implies that it's not already here and that we need to look for it somewhere else. But there's only one problem. There's only the moment, the here and now. Past and future are only thoughts in our mind. They don't really exist. There's in fact no other place than here and now. And this is also why we suffer. We are trying something that is impossible. We're trying to find true happiness in a place that doesn't exist. Since it's always the here and now, no other place exists. There is nowhere else to find true happiness. If we try to find it somewhere else, where do we expect to find it? An enlightened master once shared the following example with me to show how desire and suffering work. So everyone knows the feeling of being hungry and craving food. Imagine you are hungry and you are heading to a restaurant. You're already desiring the food and the drinks, thinking about what you will order, and you're looking forward to it. But because of your hunger, your thoughts are fixated on the food, and you are no longer present in the moment. The craving for food becomes your whole world temporarily. Then you arrive at the restaurant, you place your order, and the waiter brings your food. And here is what happens next. You take a few bites, and suddenly the craving is gone. Everything that was tied to your anticipation of the food has completely vanished. Now it's just you eating the food, being happier than you were before. Our rational, thinking mind observes this situation and concludes that food makes us happy. However, how long does this happiness last? At the latest, only until you are hungry again. Now, if we examine the situation on a deeper level, we can see the following. Before we get to the table to eat the food, we are basically in a state of desire. We are craving and desiring this food. This desire makes us suffer. We are not in the present moment anymore. We are only thinking about the future. We disregard the present moment, only thinking about the future. And this is what the Buddha meant by dukkha, or unsatisfactoriness. Suffering doesn't always mean we are in severe pain or agony. It simply means that being here and now is not enough, and so we start looking elsewhere. We arrive at the restaurant, order and receive the food, and as soon as we take the first few bites, the craving and the desire disappear. So instead of thinking that the food made us happy, we realize that it was the desire, the craving, that made us unhappy. And once it disappeared, we felt happy again. So fulfilling our dreams doesn't make us happy. When we achieve something and that desire disappears, the happiness that's always here can re-emerge. Our true nature, our true self, the essence of being is happiness itself. And when the clouds of desire vanish completely, happiness resurfaces without any condition. In Advaita Vedanta, Brahman, the unchanging reality, is described as Sat Chit Ananda, which means existence, consciousness, and bliss. It means that bliss or happiness is woven into our very being, into our essence. It's always there, but we typically don't recognize it because we overshadow it with our desire. And in those brief moments when desire disappears, we can feel it. But then we mistake it as the result of getting what we wanted, rather than happiness appearing because desire disappeared. This is really important to understand. Don't take my word. Try to see it for yourself. Just notice whenever a tendency arises within you, suggesting that you need to do something or go somewhere else to be happy. Then observe the moment in your mind. Observe the tendency. Notice how this tendency expresses itself within your system. Then just observe this movement of desire in your mind. Notice how it expresses itself within your system. Notice the energy, the feeling behind it. What does it feel like? How does desire drive you in a particular direction? And remain completely still as you do this. Don't follow or suppress the desire. Just observe it. And also, stay very curious about it. How is it even able to move you toward a certain action? How is it able to override your conscious mind, turning you into its puppet? How is it able to overshadow the inherent happiness that you really are? What's the mechanism? The more you look and practice this and observe your inner workings, the clearer it will become and the less likely you are to follow it unconsciously. So naturally, your very true being, which is happiness itself, will become more apparent in your life. You don't have to do anything for it or work for it. You simply let go of trying to get somewhere else. Because true happiness is unconditional. You don't have to earn it, you don't have to work for it, you don't have to run after it. You already deserve it because it's who you are. And as the Hindus say, you are that very existence, consciousness, and bliss. Believing that an impermanent material thing or goal can make you happy is an insult to your true being. It's like trading gold for pennies. And so before I wrap up, I want to address something really important, a question that may have come to your mind. People are often confused when they hear this and they think they have to give up everything. Their life, their hobbies, their partners, their goals, everything. But this is not true. It also shows how simple and limited our rational minds are, always jumping from one extreme to the other extreme. People today are very proud of their thinking, yet we are actually more misguided than ever before. But I'll save the topic for another time. So you don't have to give up anything. Just live your life and be aware of your inner workings. Sure, you may let go of unnecessary activities because you now see through your desires. But it doesn't mean you stop with everything. Because trying to stop your desire is just another desire. So don't fall into this trap. Just stay as you are and do what needs to be done. It's more about becoming aware of your inner world than trying to change something on the outside. Because the outer world will become clear once the inner world is clear. All right, I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions about this, please drop them in the comments. Also, don't forget to like this video and click the link in the description to subscribe to my free newsletter. See you next time, your friend of the way. Bye.